it's very close to my heart. I've owned horses since the 70s, late 70s. And one thing that's always bothered me is what happens to the horse after his race career has come to an end. And you know as well as I do, horses are very dependent on human beings. And sadly, a lot of horses don't end up going the right way after their racing careers come to an end. And I think what we're trying to do through the Western Cape Equine Trust is to try and find a second career, as it were, or a second life for these horses, to give them a chance. A lot of them are healthy and fit and beautiful creatures, and to find them good homes where people will love them and look after them, as it were, give them a second chance.
It's pretty easy for the good ones like Pocket Power, Glamour Boy to find home because they have made you a hero through their endeavours on the racetrack. But there are many lesser horses that slip through the cracks because they're not fashionable, or for whatever reason people don't have the same affinity for those horses that are just not as well equipped as athletes.
Yes, I 100% concur with you there. I think that is the case, and even I'm guilty of that. Or Glamour Boy, you mentioned Glamour Boy. Dominion Ruler, I've still got him. He was a 15-time winner. Rhode Island, a whole lot of my good horses I look after myself. But clearly owners can't do that with every horse. So the lesser horses are moved on. And I think that's where the risks come in, because as we all know, some of them end up doing bush racing, and I'm not saying bush racing is all bad, but there have been very well documented cases where horses have ended up in the wrong hands and suffered severe abuse, and that is deeply concerning. And I think it's deeply concerning for our industry, because I feel we've got some sort of responsibility toward those horses.
Well, we can go on from there in many directions, but the one direction I'd like to embark on first of all is Lee, who is very closely connected with the Aventure Stud by virtue of her blood brother being the founder of Aventure Stud, and yes, she just happens to have a great affinity with the filly that was found in an emaciated condition with abscesses in her feet, and she looks the picture of health and the epitome of happiness.
Absolutely, and you know, you mentioned Lee, and I'm very fortunate because I've been a trustee of the Western Cape Equine Trust from day one. I think originally there were about 11, 12 of us, and most of them still remain. But I have never really worked on the committee, and it was only 3 months ago when they asked me to come onto the committee as chairman. And I agreed to do that I met some of these really wonderful people, caring people, and I think you saw a little bit yesterday. I'm very fortunate to have a committee like that who give of their time so freely for nothing, just sharing the love of the equine, which is to me is awesome.
Well, love, passion, two key words in this whole thing, but money also plays a very important role, because I noticed that there were people there that weren't exactly from the poorer side of town that were prepared to give up of their time, where they've clearly got the resources to do anything they want, and that's very encouraging.
Yes, it is, and I think you would have noticed how calm the horses were there. They were happy, they were relaxed, and I think that speaks volumes, and I think that comes from these volunteers.
Well, the first thing that occurred to me is the fact that you're not getting as many horses as you would like to process there, because you're teaching them things that they never learnt as racehorses to equip them for this afterlife, as you refer to. And to me, the visibility and the exposure is the key component here.
Yes, and Andrew, you also mentioned money. And sadly, a lot of things in life revolves around money. And we couldn't do this without financial support from various donors and benefactors, for which we're extremely grateful. Now, down the years, most of the income that the trust derived came out of Rodney Dunn's Cocktails and Racing. And it was quite a substantial sum of money, which we used to get every single year. Sadly, with the demise of Cocktails and Racing, those funds have dried up now. So we're in a situation where the only funds we have at the moment is raised through our annual race day, which we're having on the 10th of December here at Kenilworth, and we're looking forward to. But we've also now started discussions with a group called Horses for Causes, who had a very, very successful day here at Kenilworth this year in February. and you're going to repeat the function in February next year. And we are hopefully going to combine with them. And what we are trying to achieve is to start the stallion auction again as if it was Rodney's Cocktails and Racing Day.
That would be a huge difference, because we really have to watch whatever we spend at the moment, because funds are limited, and that was our biggest funding stream, as you quite rightly put out. And we've lost that a few years back, so we've had to make do from then. And of course what we get out of the horses certainly doesn't fund what what it costs. If we're lucky, it funds maybe a third to a half, but often it doesn't fund that. So it needs funding. If people believe in what we do, they should help us fund it.